Hey guys, how are we? Sean from The Good Dog. Unfortunately, we got some noisy stuff cooking out there. I don't know what it is. It's not trash day, it's just noise day. Anyways, I wanted to wrap with you guys about something that I think is really important, doesn't get talked about enough, and that's the differentiation between straight up obedience work and behavior modification, right? It kind of comes from this like thing I wrote to myself the other day. I was thinking about like posting it up as a quote on its own. Maybe I will, but it's like trainers teach dogs all the commands except the most important one: don't bite. Right? Now I know that's oversimplifying, right? Because it could be a million or a multitude of issues you're dealing with, right? It could be reactivity, could be resource guarding, could be whatever. But it's really getting, I got a helicopter too. But it's really getting to the point of like, we can teach dogs a whole bunch of behaviors, obedience commands, sit, down, recall, heel, place, all that stuff, which is super valuable and can be super helpful mindset-wise and attitude-wise. But there's also the specific aspect of telling a dog no and connecting a negative consequence to a behavior, right? So if you're only doing obedience and you've got a dog with a behavior problem, that's something, that's like biting people, growling at people, snapping at people, going after other dogs, resource guarding. I think they're coming to pick me up. Time for my 10 o'clock appointment. Anyways, if you're not, sorry, I got distracted there. If you're not making the differentiation between the two different worlds of obedience work and then the other part of behavior modification, which is like, obviously it's complicated, and I'm trying to simplify things so people can wrap their heads around it, but I want you to get that there's two worlds, right? Here's all the obedience commands. I need you to do these. I need you to do these at the top level. I need you to be reliable. I need you to comply. I need you to be on top of your game, right? Those are all the things you want from your dog. But then you also want, the dog's trying to bite somebody in the house. The dog's going after another dog in the house. The dog is resource guarding. The dog is highly reactive, whatever it might be. Just training obedience, sometimes with very light dogs, will diminish or remove that stuff if you're really lucky, with the light ones, the cupcakes. But guys that have real serious stuff, if you are not going to create a negative consequence attached to that choice, you're going to continue to see that choice. You'll just have a well-trained dog. You'll have a dog that knows all these obedience commands, but he'll still be misbehaving in contexts that you don't want him to. He could be like highly trained in biting, but not like bite work that you're training him to do. He's doing bite work that you don't want. So I just see over and over again people focusing so much on creating, I want this, I want this, I want this, and not focusing nearly enough on, I don't want this, right? And it doesn't mean we want to just create a negative world where our dogs are just like, don't do this, don't do this, don't. But things that are dangerous or unhealthy, bad for them, bad for their environment, bad for you, they need to be stopped, they need to be addressed, they need to be corrected, right? So the more you guys can kind of pair these two worlds together, then you can really start making some amazing progress. Once you realize that if you combine obedience work and behavior modification, correcting consequences, punishment for negative behaviors, then you can get off to the races and really create a solid dog. Now we've got a dog who's well trained, he knows all the good stuff, mindset's in a good space, used to listening, polite, attitude's getting cool and solid, and he's also been connected, punished, corrected, whatever terminology you're comfortable with, for something that you disapprove of or is unhealthy for him, right? So say, oh God, we could go through anything, right? So say the dog is growling and snapping at people, right? There needs to be a consequence for that. Just training place command or just training, recalling away or out or something like that, is going to just manage the situation, but it's not going to stop the dog in the future. It's not going to create that future inhibition that you need of like, I won't do that because there's a negative thing connected to it, right? So be really clear about the differentiation between management. Oh, he's on the couch and he's growling. I can recall him off and send him to place. Cool, but you haven't addressed the growling. You haven't addressed, like, you shouldn't be on the couch anyways, but you haven't addressed the growling. You haven't addressed the state of mind that feels like that dog can set limits and consequences and boundaries for human beings. You've just used an obedience command to recall him away and put him in place. Now, better, especially if your dog's e-collar trained, say he's on the couch and he growls as you like walk by or get close, right? So I would want to share a consequence first. So first there would be no, right? Nice firm level, whatever that is for your dog, and your dog connected with the growling, right? The dog's like, pop, your dog goes, and then you go, get your ass off the couch. The command's actually like, come, or place, or get your ass off the couch, and then send the dog to place. But that's only after the consequence has been delivered. If you just do the obedience work, guys, you stay in management land forever. That's why we're able to get dogs out of here that know obedience work, but also their behavior has been modified. Their behavior has changed. They're in a different space. They're making different choices because negative consequences have been attached to choices that are inappropriate. Make sense? Right? So just keep it simple, guys. Keep it simple. It's like, I'm trying to think like a good parallel. It's like having a kid that goes to school and he every time he goes to school, he likes to smack the girls. He's a bad boy. But he's like 9 years old or 8 years old or 6. I don't know how old he is. But he walks into class and he smacks the girls. Or 2 girls. He smacks Sally. And then he goes and sits down. Does really good in school, really super smart, gets A's on all of his like coloring or whatever it is. And then the next morning he walks back in, boom, smacks Sally. Sits down, does his work. He's an awesome student. He's got all this great stuff, but he's hitting Sally. That's not cool, right? So there has to be a negative consequence attached to hitting Sally, not just the schoolwork, right? It's not just like, great, he did an awesome job on his homework. I don't know if this is a perfect parallel, but I hope it helps people see like kind of the ridiculousness of it, in that if you don't say, don't do that, you're leaving a dog stuck to continue to do the behavior. If you don't say no, you're saying yes. What you allow is what you get, right? Same thing goes with kids. If say in your own home, if one of your kids walked up and just smacked his little brother across the face, would you allow it? Would you just sit him down and go, now listen, that's really like not okay, and we don't hit kids, you know, we don't hit each other in this house. Personally, I put my hand up here. Personally, I would hope not. Personally, if one of them did something that kind of outrageous and came up and smacked the other, which is what I'm kind of like correlating or paralleling with like aggression and dogs, something serious, I would hope there'd be a more serious consequence for that child. I would hope that there would be a swat on the rear or something that child would go, whew, I don't ever want to do that again. I smacked my little brother and then I got a swat on the butt and that hurt. I didn't like it and mom was mad at me. Okay, so let me make a better choice, right? So that's the game. Whether you want to, like, let's not get into a whole debate about like swatting kids. Please, dear God, don't let this turn into that. But what I want you guys to get is just the concept of there's a difference between training a dog, behaviors that you like, things that you want, things that are awesome to have, you know, like an awesome recall and all that, and control in the house and a nice walk. All that stuff's fantastic, and all that stuff will create a better mindset, a more courteous dog, a better relationship. But in a lot of cases, it won't be enough to stop serious stuff, like what I listed already. I won't go back through it Sean O'Shea style. Let me go through it. I won't list all the other stuff again, but you guys get it, right? You have to do both. You have to do both. You have to have, well, you don't have to do anything, but if you want a really great dog, you have to do both. You have to create the obedience, so you've got all of that cool lifestyle management way to work with the dog, but then you've also got to have the consequences attached to negative behaviors, so those go away, so you have a safer, better behaved dog, a dog that's not in a space that's going to hurt the other dog or hurt you or hurt a child or something like that. So I hope this makes sense, guys. Any questions, hit me up. How you go about delivering those consequences, now we got a can of worms. Obviously, it depends on your style, your approach, your tools, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. I'm not here to tell you how to do it. You guys know how we do it here with prong or e-collar, something like that. But totally up to you guys. There's bonkers. There's, you know, some people use squirt guns. Man, if a squirt gun makes your dog's world turn upside down, more power to you. Most it doesn't. But if you have one of those dogs that, like, the squirt bottle comes out and he's like, ah, cool. That's a negative consequence attached to a behavior if it works. So let your dog tell you what works. You'll know by their behavior changing. If their behavior doesn't change, then they just sent you an email telling you that that consequence you shared didn't have any value. So anyways, Sean the Good Dog, hit me up with any questions. Remember, both worlds, guys. Put both those worlds together, then you got a real great shot at having a great dog, even if he's got some behavior problems. And if he's really serious, dangerous, anything like that, please get somebody professional on the job that's experienced with this, that can help you, keep you safe. I don't want you guys getting hurt or anything like that. But it does need to get addressed. And don't let a trainer come in and just be like, oh, we need obedience. No. All we need isn't just obedience. So even if you've got a trainer who's an experienced trainer, videos of dogs doing all sorts of fancy cool stuff, if they don't say we need to address poor choices and attach negative consequences to it, they don't know what they're talking about. Or at least they may know what they're talking about, but they may not be sharing it with you, and they may only be just doing obedience work. They may not know what they're talking about, or they may just only work with obedience and don't want to do behavior mod. It could be a million different things. But if I called somebody for my dog and they were like, we're just going to do obedience for the growling stuff, I'd be like, nah, that ain't enough. We need the whole enchilada. Obedience and behavior modification. All right? Sean from the Good Dog, getting out of your hair. Talk to you guys soon. Hey, what do you think of the Invisalign? I actually took the trays out to talk to you guys, and to have my green smoothie, or it would have been like super atrocious. So, but I'm doing okay. Like, I sound pretty good. I know the trays aren't in, but the buttons are there. So my point is that I'm talking pretty good even with those like buttons in my mouth. All right, bye.